Yeah, I I really appreciate you teaching me the tools. I didn't know how to use the whiteboard at all, so I really appreciate that, Melissa.
It's hard to use with the mouse. That's why I have this like thing where you write. Yeah.
Yeah. No, that's helpful. Yeah. Okay. So we're gonna do multiplying fractions now. Gonna work on doing, and that 5 is just hanging out. The 5's not doing anything. That 5's just hanging out right there. So we're gonna do. Let's see. We're gonna do 5 times 5 over so we're doing 5/8 times 5/7. So we have 5/7 as a fraction, and that's being multiplied by 5/8. All right, let's do that. All right. Okay. So we have that. So for this type of problem, you're just gonna multiply straight across. So you're gonna do 5 times 5, and you're gonna get 25 because that is what 5 times 5 equals. And then we're gonna multiply 8 times 7, and that's gonna be 56. And then your fraction is going to be 25 over 56. So yeah, your product is 25 over 56. And that's as simplified as it can get. So that's going to be our final answer. Do you have any questions? Okay. Okay.
Do you want me to ask a question?
Sure.
If I were a student, I might say, okay, how do you know you can't simplify it more just by looking at it?
They don't share any common factors. They don't share 25 and 56 don't share any common factors. So it's as simplified as it can get.
Okay.
Now I'm not a professional math teacher. I kind of dabble, but is it possible to turn this into a mixed number, Melissa?
Oh, do you want to know, or are you
Yeah.
saying that? No.
Yeah. Okay.
You can only turn into a mixed number if the numerator is larger than the denominator. That's what's called a proper fraction. It's got a smaller numerator than the denominator, and there are no whole numbers in it. It's smaller than 1, and it's got a numerator that is smaller than the denominator.
Very cool. So if the numerator is smaller than the denominator, it just stays.
Yeah, there's nothing you can do to that fraction besides maybe turn into a decimal, but like you can't turn it into another fraction that's fully simplified.
All right.
That's the only form it's going to be in.
Cool. Uh, um, so let's try a more complicated fraction. We're gonna try 2/7 over. So we're gonna try 2/7, also known as 2/7, times. Just looking for the time symbol, which is next. There you go. And 3/4. Also 3/4. All right. Reconfiguring. All right. There we go. All right. So get that going on there. And 3/4 times 2/7. 2/7 times 3/4. We're gonna multiply straight across, and we're gonna get 6/28. So 6 is your numerator, and your denominator is going to be 28. Numerator is the above number, and the denominator is the below number. And from here, we can simplify these more because they have common factors of 2. So we're going to divide by 2. So don't really have a division symbol here, so just gonna kind of use what we got.
You can use a slash if you want.
Okay.
That means divide, yeah.
Kimos. Okay. So they have common factors of 2. So we can simplify this. We can make the 6 into 3, and the 28 is going to be divided by 2, and that's going to turn into 14. So we're going to have 3/14, or 3/14. And that is going to be your final answer, and we cannot simplify that anymore. Do you have any questions?
No, I don't think so.
Okay. All right. All right. Gonna clear out some of the stuff here.
There's like a clear all button, I think, if you want to use that. Drew, is this for like a interview or something, or is this just for practicing?
This is just for practicing. There's a website. It's either tutor.com or tutors.com. It's one of those. They have their own tutoring software, but it would be for me to learn how to do it. So if I have to teach math, or I'd preferably want to teach reading or writing. So I'd want to do one of those, but I'd also ask the kid if they need help with math and say, what's the math? And if it's something I can do, I would help them with it. All right, so we deduced I can probably teach them multiplying fractions. I can probably do that. Decimals.
You could probably help them with like their homework or something. But if they like don't understand anything about decimals, it might be tough to get them like the foundations. But you can
Okay.
help them if they already have a basic idea and they just need help like checking their work or like working through problems and stuff like that.
Kimosa.
Yeah. Did you want to go over anything, any other things, or?
To get to the really fun stuff, dividing a mixed number by a fraction. Okay.
What's this list from?
Oh, YouTube channel I watch, Mr. J, teaches, fifth grade math. I watched it ready
Oh,
for a placement exam,
Casito.
and it was
No,
really
leave
helpful.
it.
In
Sorry.
community college, a placement exam for community college, and it was extremely helpful. So yeah, it was cool.
Good.
Um,
Casito, get over here. No. It's a little territorial.
people are nice. Mm. Mm. All right. Okay. All right. So now we're gonna work on dividing a mixed number by a fraction. We have 2 4/9 divided by 2/3. Okay. Let's see. All right. Clean it up a little bit. Just make sure that's lined up. Let's see.
I get the idea, it's all right.
Let's see.
What are you doing? Ew, so-
18. Say, I don't know. All right. Let's see. 18 plus 4. All right. So we're gonna start by multiplying the denominator by the whole number. So this is the whole number right here, and this is the fraction. So we need to have some whole numbers here, and we need to get rid of the 2. So we're going to multiply the denominator by 2, which is 9. So then we're going to get 18. And then what you do there is you add the numerator. So 18 plus 4. And you're going to get 22. So you have a new numerator of 22. And then you're going to divide that by 9. So, or your denominator is 9. You're not dividing. So anyway, let's see. So you got 22/9 right there, and let's see. Let's see. Times 3.
I think maybe if you click next to the 22, you can do some spaces. And then you'll be able to get it lined up nicely.
Is it 3 seconds or is it 3
Yeah.
twos? It's 3
We
seconds.
have, yep.
All right. Okay. So we got 22/9 and 3 seconds right there, and we're gonna multiply these 2. So, but before we get to the fun stuff, before we multiply them, we have to simplify so we make those smaller, more manageable numbers. So how we're going to do this is we are going to find common factors and we are going to reduce the numbers into more manageable numbers, and then we're going to multiply them. So we are going to find common factors. 3 and 9, their common factor is 3. So we're going to turn the 9 into a 1 and the 3, not the 9 into a 3 and the 3 into a 1. 22 and 2, the common factors are 11. So 22 divided by 11 is 2, and 2 divided by 2 is 1. So we're going to get 11 over 3 and multiplied by 1. 1 over 1. All right. And then you're just going to multiply across. And you're going to 11 times 1 is 11, and then 3 times 1 is 3. So you're going to get 11 over 3. And that is an unhealthy number right there. So we are going to turn it into a mixed number. And 3 goes into 11 3 times. So you're going to get 3, which is a whole number. And then we're going to put 2, and then how much do you have left over? We're going to leave the denominator as the same number. So the 3 is going to stay intact. And then goes into it 3 times, and then you have 9. So 9 is going to be what, how many times it goes into, and then 11 minus 9 equals 2. So 2 is going to be your numerator. So it's going to be 2 over 3. And it's going to be 3 2/3. And we have a final answer of 3 2/3. Question.
Good.
Okay. I have to practice doing that a little bit more. So how I'm developing the solutions is a little bit confusing. Like you're kind of right about like the numbers. I guess it kind of makes sense, but it's probably do in our text box over here. 3. How do you get the numbers to line up, Melissa?
So I just want to think of, like, I look on like what I want it to be aligned with, and then I put the cursor next to what I want to be aligned with and type there. So if you want your second fraction, the numerator, you're going to want to put the cursor by the 2 in the first fraction for that fraction's numerator. Are you doing a mixed number next, or a proper fraction without a whole number in it?
Let's see. um, um, mm, all right. Actually, I'm probably gonna move on to dividing decimals. If that's okay.
Okay.
Yeah. I'm sorry. Is that okay?
Yeah,
All right.
and clear it.
All right. Let's see. Cool. All right. So we are going to divide decimals. Lots of fun. All right. Let's see. So we got 0.12 divided by 86.40. Now personally, I find division a lot more fun than multiplication, but on your personal taste. So for here, we need to get rid of these decimals. So we need to multiply. So we're going to multiply each side by 10. So we're going to turn this into 12. So that decimal is going to disappear. We're going to multiply by 10 and it's going to move over by 2 places. And it's going to be 12.
Drew, did you mean to flip those? Is that what did you want to divide by 12 or did you want to divide by the 86 one number?
I wanted to divide by 12.
So you should flip those, that order. 86 and 40 hundredths first, divided by 12 hundredths second. Because right now you're doing 12 divided by 8,000. Yeah, like that.
Yeah, I appreciate that. Okay, so we got a big number there. We got 8,640 divided by 12. And to tackle this big guy, we are going to first think about how many times 12 goes into 86. Now the answer is 7. So it goes into it 7 times. And then you have let's see. Let's see.
If it's too hard to use a platform, you can say it for this, I guess, because I understand that this is like a lot of typing. If that's better for you.
-86 minus 84. 12 goes into 86 7 times. You can get 80. Get 84. Let's say, and then you subtract 86 by 84 and you get 2. So you get 2 and then the 4 comes down. And then how many times does 12 go into 4? Twice. So 12 goes into 24 twice, and you get 24 and then you get 0 right there. And then the 0 that's here, this guy, he's just gonna come over and he's just gonna be there. So you're gonna have 72, and then that 0 that's right there, this 0 right here, this is just gonna stay there, and it's gonna be a 0. So you're gonna put that in there, and it's gonna be, and your final answer is going to be 720. Any questions?
No, I don't think so.
So our divisor was 0.12, and this number was 86.40.
Do you know what the other one's called?
No, I don't.
Dividend.
Okay.
Dividend and divisor.
Okay. What's the quotient? Is that the
That's
product?
answer. Yeah, quotient.
So this is the quotient, the
That's the quotient,
720. Okay. Your quotient is 720. Okay, equals 720. There it is. Okay. Different way to do it. Yeah. All right. Probably have to practice this a little bit more because I need to learn a better way to divide it or to show the steps. Because the 84, it went into it this many times, and then 7 is the first part of your quotient, and then the next part is 2 after that. And then the O just stays there, and you get that because 12 goes in 24 twice, so you get that there, and you get the O. So you got that going on. All right, all right. This is there. Yeah. I just have to work on presenting this a little better. So, because it's just kind of like you said, it just kind of looks like numbers. This looks fine, and then this looks
Well,
fine.
it's the wrong. You just have to switch it.
Yeah. What's going on, buddy? All right. So this is the drawing tool, correct?
What'd you say?
This is the drawing tool right here.
Yeah.
All right. How many places it moves over? 1, 2, and then let's see. Okay. Okay. So. Because we multiply by 10, this is how we get 8640 divided by 12.
500. Moving it over twice, so 10 for each place you multiplied by 100.
Multiply by 100.
Mm.
You multiply this by 100, and then this by 100, and then yeah. 8640 divided by 12. Let's see. Yeah.
Drew, I want to give you feedback, okay? It might
Okay.
sound harsh, but I know that you want to do this well. I don't think you're ready for 5th grade math to tutor it. It's going to take a lot. Like, you need to understand how to talk about the numbers, because that's important. Just even the over and the different forms of fractions, like saying the hundredths and the thousandths and saying 3/4 instead of 3/4. These are all like very important things in language for building number sense, and you're not doing it naturally. You're learning the steps of how to do each problem, but how you talk about it influences how students understand the numbers. and you're just now kind of grasping the basic steps of how to do the problems. And there's another element where it's how you present it to a student to build the knowledge and just the understanding of what the numbers mean, how to represent them with different models. There's just so many techniques. And I just don't think you're ready to do middle school right now. So I think that maybe you should, I don't know the age of the people, but maybe you should focus on really building the steps for elementary or different subjects. And you can just, if you disagree, or if you think that you could put in more to get to 5th grade, that, you know, I'd talk about that with you. I just feel like based on how you're presenting this, that you're just, when you see the 5th grade homework, people don't realize how difficult it is. You know, they do different models. The way they ask it, it's not really step by step anymore. It's like a kind of, let me see, I think I gave away my books, but the way they ask the problems, it might be like Joan has 3/4 of 7 kilograms, you know, I mean, it's like very involved. It's not very step by step, and it's a lot about understanding it and being able to model it. And I just don't think that you have the foundation right now to be able to successfully do math middle school.
Yeah. Yeah, I agree. I think I know the basics, and I think the decimals is really where I just kind of struggle. It's just kind of the ideas of that, but probably very basic math, probably like multiplication, addition, division,
Yeah.
probably long division. I could probably do it.
Yeah, I would work on building the lower levels and not focus so much about like the dividing, the thousands and the hundreds. And I would just get a strong, because some of these kids that are going to need tutoring are going to be kids who might be gifted and want enrichment, or might be, you know what I mean, or might be past that level. So like the fact that, so like knowing to convert to a mixed number, like if you can convert or not, that's kind of like a 5th, 4th grade math area. So that's something that, like, if you're going to tutor middle school, you should be solid on that kind of thing. And reading the numbers, being able to write them. So knowing, you know, 7 and 599,000 divide, and reading it like that naturally without having to think about it. That's another thing that you really need to be able to do for 4th and 5th grade, I think. Just how you read the numbers. And 3/4, you should really be, this isn't, you know, as big, but saying 3/4 and what that number means, all that stuff is really important. Like when you're borrowing and you have the 5/10 and you're borrowing, it's now 15/10, and just saying that naturally without having to process it or anything is also important. So you might be able to, like, if a student has a question or two about like checking their work, that might be it. But in terms of doing a 5th grade or 4th grade or 6th grade or whatever math lesson, I just think you need a more solid foundation before you're at that level. And I just wanted to tell you, because I feel like you're putting a lot of work in, and I feel like that energy could be directed better into maybe building your ability to work with the younger grades, like maybe 1st, 2nd, 3rd in math, and figuring out how to present those lessons. And also maybe working on, I know you're probably doing other topics too. So I think that would just be a better use of your time.
Yeah, I agree. I think I get like some of the steps confused, and I could if kids haven't a question about decimals, I could probably do it. But you're right about teaching the foundations.
Yeah.
For
You might be able to do homework help, but if someone just doesn't get a concept in that at that level, I think in terms of like clarifying a key element they don't understand, like they might not understand certain things about adding, and in terms of getting at the reason they're having that issue, you have to have like a really thorough understanding of the concepts. Not just the steps on how to solve it, but actually just background on what are the typical errors students make. You know, because there's different reasons students make different errors. They might not understand what a fraction is, like what the numerator represents, what the denominator represents in terms of the sizes and the different types of fractions, and just little things. Like even improper fractions, a common misconception is that students think because they're called improper that that's not a legitimate way of writing a fraction. And that is a legitimate way of writing it. It's just a different way of writing it. There are different forms that are useful in different contexts. So yeah, like little things, like because if you don't have a background in like math education, you might not know that. You might say, you know, we don't like it like this. This is a bad form, and little errors like that pop up that might end up being problems later on. So there's just like a few things like subtle things like that I picked up where I think it might be better to not to focus on the lower grades, because you might accidentally feed into some misconceptions without meaning to.
Yeah, I think you're right. Like, I just don't think that my math knowledge is strong enough to teach the upper grades, or I have enough practice teaching
Yeah.
the upper grades.
There's
Obviously,
the math, and there's also how to teach it. There's two different parts that you have to know, because even just knowing the math, it's not always enough to know how to teach it.
yeah. Yeah, like it is kind of having the knowledge, but then teaching it is kind of completely separate. So like you could be really good at like studying something or doing it, but then
yeah, like I can't teach English, even though I did well, I got decent grades. I know how to write, but I'm not good at, I don't know how to give feedback. I don't know how to analyze a story. Like I just wouldn't probably be able to tutor that even if I know it, even if I know the basics of it. But yeah, no, it's probably disappointing, but I just don't want you to, I just want you to like use your time, you know, the best that you can to get where you want to go, right?
People are nice. Yeah. Yeah. No. I think those are all really good points, Melissa. I definitely agree. I shouldn't definitely not bite off more than I can chew.
Yeah.
Because I don't want to do something that I'm unprepared to do or lead students astray. So
Yeah. And I know that, which is why I told you that. I know that you want to do the best you can do. Clearly, you're doing all this work just to help your students, which is great. And you're asking for feedback, which is also great. So I think that you could probably become a better tutor, a better, you know, educator if you kind of analyzed where to put, you know, your energy and where maybe it's not, you might not be prepared for. So probably reading and writing is great. That's your background, right? And there are tons of students who need help with that. And then maybe the earlier grades if they need help with math. But I think, and you probably do help if you're helping someone with English and they want you to check their homework or help them with little things here and there. You could do that, but I don't think I wouldn't sign on for like a 5th grade math tutor job or a 4th grade math tutor job or anything like that. I think that's too much.
Mm, um, yeah, I really uh, appreciate that, Melissa.
Yeah.
Okay. So uh, that's good. For the math stuff. Uh, yeah, I could give you a brief run through on like what the sketch writing process looks like for me, and just kind of very general, and just kind of how I would write a 3 to 5 page sketch.
That
Um,
would be good.
okay.
Um,
Do you have
can
time right
we
now? Or
do, right now I feel like I have to take this dog out because it's a little late. So I want to get him for a walk, even though he doesn't seem interested, but just in case. But if another, I could definitely do, if you ever want to meet up again and do another time and run through that. We could set up another Zoom call if that works for you.
that would be really great, Melissa. I'd
Mhm.
appreciate that a lot. Um, uh, um, mm, um, is there a day this week? Because preferably like before the school year starts would be good for both of us.
Yeah, definitely. Let
Be,
me think, let me look at my schedule. You feeling all right? I know that that was a lot, that I just did to you.
you were really helpful, Melissa. Really, really helpful. I didn't know how to use the whiteboard tool. That was really helpful. And also understanding like the meaning of the numbers. Like I usually get really rusty on math. So that was kind of helping refreshing. And that was very refreshing. That was very helpful.
Okay, that's
Th-
good.
there were some specific things I hadn't thought of in years. So that was really helpful for me. Um,
Yeah.
um, yeah. The tenths and the hundreds was extremely helpful. No,
That's
okay.
good. Yeah. They make them do so many different models, so many different like cutting things into 10 pieces, 100 pieces, filling them in. There's so much prep work just to even get to where you started. But if you want to maybe start looking through the elementary school, I would say like the third, second grade curriculum, see how that is. The basic, like getting the number sense ready, shading things in. I don't know if people request, are there a lot of younger people who request? I think there are. Um, but it might be good to start instead of focusing on like the dividing the giant numbers, maybe the skills that the foundational skills the elementary school kids are working on that are younger. That might be good to start looking at. There might not be as many videos on it, but if you look, you could probably Google some worksheets. Start tutoring looking at that. I'm available like I think Wednesday during the day, if you're around then.
Um, Wednesday morning, Wednesday afternoon.
Yeah, any of those. I'm not really a morning person. As in the summer, I've been waking up like super late, which is a terrible habit. But let me Wednesday afternoon. Is that good? We could. That would be cool to start working on like sketch stuff. Although I might not have anything fleshed out by then. But
Um, um, Also, have you taken an improv class before?
no.
Okay, something that's really helpful for me is if you
Yeah.
take in theater or improv, pretend you're doing a scene with someone else and build it. Just build it in front of them. Pretend like you're talking to someone else and build the scene. That's extremely helpful to
I don't
me.
know if I'm gonna be good at this.
That's kind of how I
Really.
come up with the dialogue and the writing. That's how I do it. And then maybe I do different voices because I enjoy doing voices. Um,
Yeah.
uh, did I do voices when you saw me do stand up?
I think so. I think you do your sister. You did a female one, I think. I think. It was so long ago. It was like, what was it, like 7? It's been so long. Because I've lived
Uh,
here for like 6 years, I think. And that
uh,
was And then a few years before I moved out of Philly, it was so long ago. I was probably like, was I like 25 or 27? Oh my God, I was so young. Yeah.
Oh,
When I like first started doing it, before I did it, I would go check out stand-up scenes to kind of get my courage up. And yeah, because that was my New Year's resolution, was to do a stand-up set. That's how I got into it, because it was something I always wanted to do and something I was always afraid to do. And then I did it at Fergie's. Yeah, that's my dog in the back. He blends in with the mat, but he's lifting his paws up.
that's cool. Super nice.
It cost me a lot of money because something's wrong with him right now. I take him to the vet, but I think he's okay. But they did all these tests and whatever.
People.
Everybody? All right. Yeah, but that would be really helpful. Thanks. I think it would be cool to work on.
What time Wednesday afternoon works for you?
Is 12 okay?
That works great.
Yeah.
12 on Wednesday.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. I'll share 3 different scripts I'm working on.
Oh, that would be great.
Okay. I'll try to clean one of them up so it's formatted properly. So
Okay.
I'll try to do that or show it in a good form. So if you have any sketch or script or even a story you've written or anything, like to be honest,
think about it. I'm probably not as good at taking feedback as you when it comes to my writing. I was always kind of a brat about my writing, but I probably could try to suck it up. I remember when I was a kid, anyone who criticized my writing, I would kind of like lose my shit at them. I'd be like, you don't get it. I don't know. But I think I've calmed down as an adult. So if I have an idea, I'll be better. If I can give harsh feedback, I have to be able to take it. So I think it's good. I'll think of some ideas and maybe run them by you.
That's totally cool. Yeah. You were very helpful to me during stand-up. I remember I had this joke about getting hit on by single moms because I did. On a dating website.
Oh yeah.
And the stand-up I said a lot of single moms, and you were skeptical. So you were like,
oh yeah,
Drew, when you say a lot, how many do you really mean? And I was like, 2. And you're like, then say that. Okay. Say you got hit on by 2 single moms. Then say that. Yeah, because and no, like the appeal is
did that
like
help? Did that work better?
it opened up the joke a little bit more. And it was kind of thinking like, they already have kids. How about another one? But
oh yeah, I remember that.
Yeah, no, because like millennials in particular, they want facts, they want truth, they want specifics. So if you can get detailed and specific, like a lot is fine, but also like you look at me and you're like,
Yeah.
Like it makes sense that like some attention, but a lot.
Well, men on dating sites in general don't tend to get that much attention. So like it's usually pretty rare that someone has just constantly getting hit on. So I was like, I don't know, Drew, like you getting hit on every day by a new single mom. But I'm buying. 2 single moms. I guess it didn't work out with either of them.
No, they didn't really get. They honestly didn't really get back to me. They probably found someone else. But also, I didn't think it would work out because I didn't have a sustainable job. Like I wasn't ready to be a surrogate father. Like I wasn't ready to be a stepdad. Like I wasn't ready to help with a supplemental income. If I had a supplemental income, I would definitely want to help. Like honestly, at that
I
point, I didn't
kind
have
of
a
like the idea of a joke where you do all these calculations for supporting their kid, and then they just don't respond back to your message anyway.
Hmm.
Just like you're figuring out how to save up for their college, you decided you were ready, and then they just don't respond.
That's really funny. That would probably shatter me internally. If I actually like thought about that. So
So you can't do it.
no, no, no. Yeah. Uh, it's
I think that's the problem with a lot of things that are funny, because a lot of things are self-deprecating, is they actually destroy you on the inside. Like the things that, you know, those kind of jokes. I was reading about Chris Farley, who obviously he wasn't in the best shape. And because one of the most famous SNL bits is him doing a competition for Chippendales with Patrick Swayze. Have you seen that clip?
um yeah, I have, and it
I
kind
didn't
of like
know. Did you know it like fucking destroyed him? Like he was a wreck. It gave him huge body image issues, and like one of the things that led to him spiraling, kind of.
no,
So a lot
I
of the
didn't hear
things
about
he's
that.
known for, like his body kind of humor,
Right.
actually was, so I think David Spade reported getting super pissed off at the writer and being like, you don't have to do this. And he did a great job, but it kind of, and watching that sketch again with that in mind makes it seem a lot worse. And they were like, you're more like fat and flabby. And like, they're just like, and this was like before he was famous. This was like, he was like a new, young, I think he was in his mid 20s, maybe SNL person. And then the first thing that they kind of threw at him was making him do like a strip routine next to Patrick Swayze and like dancing around and being. I mean, I think he also had a lot of issues with like, am I funny, or are they just laughing at me because I'm fat? And you don't realize what this kind of stuff does to people. Ruins a
Yeah,
lot of comedy, right? Like a lot of things that you think are funny
yeah.
are just like, you're like, just destroy people. But that kind of stuff, a lot of stuff that gets good laughs is the kind of stuff that shreds your soul probably into a million pieces.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Um, um,
Mhm.
um, uh, uh, mm, yeah. So Melissa,
Mhm.
where are you from? Because I know for undergrad you went to Lafayette, and
New
then
Jersey,
okay, what part of New Jersey?
Marlboro.
Okay.
Um,
Because I remember when we started doing stand-up that you talked about the show Broad City and that you really liked Broad City.
I
Um,
did.
you and John Deere talked about it.
Oh yeah, it's funny. I haven't even watched that much Broad City. I must have gotten into it and gotten right out of it. Yeah, that's
Um,
interesting.
because
Can't believe you actually remember the things that I said on my bits and stuff. That's crazy. I
uh,
threw out. I had all these cards. I was just moving. I'm like, I'm never looking at these. I threw them out. I don't know if I should have thrown them out, but I can't even look at my old recordings. I get so uncomfortable. Like I used to record. Can't even look at them anymore. I'm just like, oof, I can't watch myself. That's why I probably can't do stand. I'm just like, my skin isn't. You have to be really, it's brutal. You got to be able to watch yourself and explore things. I did this like horrible rape joke once, and I was like, ugh, you know, Jesus Christ.
um, uh,
It was like pretty bad.
um,
Yeah.
oh yeah, yeah, Cool. Yeah,
Are you
jokes
from the
about,
South?
hmm?
Are you from the South?
No,
Oh,
from Chester County, Pennsylvania. So the reason I brought the Broad City is uh, 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 Abby Jacobson, the creator of Broad City. She went to my high school. She was a class ahead of
oh,
my
wow.
older sister. Would have been 06. So she Conestoga High School 06, same high
Oh, that
school.
was when I graduated high school.
06?
Yeah.
Mm, no, you're only 4 years older than me.
Mm.
Um,
Oh, you must have been so young when I saw you. Right, you were younger.
I was 24. And I think you were 28.
I guess I was starting at 28, yeah.
Or you were 27, between 27 and 28.
Yeah,
You were a few years older. I actually thought you were my age or
I
younger.
appreciate that. I, I hate being my 30. I don't hate being my 30, it's fine. I don't know. Yeah.
Yeah. So Abby Jacobson is working on a new version of A League of Their Own. Have you seen that movie?
I have seen that movie.
It's really good.
Yeah, it's a great movie. Sounds interesting.
Yeah. Yeah. I might write a spec script for it at some
Oh,
point.
really?
Uh, not in the near future. Okay. Okay. Okay.
Wait, you're gonna write Abby Jacobson's movie?
No. It's gonna be a show.
Oh shoot, rain. All right. It says according to wait, let me check my phone because I just gotta know that it's gonna rain soon. Okay.
Okay.
I want to
Okay.
go walk my dog because it's gonna rain like in 15 minutes. So I want to get us walking before it rains.
Okay. So
But yeah,
12
I'll
on
see
Wednesday.
you
12 on
Wednesday,
Wednesday.
right?
Okay.
Yeah, and congrats on that script. That sounds like a big deal.
Oh, uh, Melissa,
Yeah.
uh, uh, um, um, so 12 on Wednesday.
Sorry?
So, 12 p.m. on Wednesday.
Yeah, 12 on Wednesday.
Okay. Thank you, Melissa.
Bye. See ya.